Creative continuity. We bring the convention to you.
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a project that we've been working on since before the inception of the MCU. The goal of these films is always to continue to expand what a comic book film is, what a Marvel Cinematic Universe film is, and starting a couple of years ago with Guardians of the Galaxy, this year with Ant-Man, next year with Doctor Strange, continuing to push the boundaries of that cinematic universe. A fellow named Benedict Cumberbatch is playing Doctor Strange. The first film in Phase 3 comes out next May, and it's called Captain America: Civil War. This film, the third in the Captain America series, which I believe is going to be one of the most unique trilogies of all time.
It shows that Captain America and all of the characters have grown in a completely different light. I feel like now we're starting to get into the realm of the characters actually being human beings and being relatable and likable, so you can see yourselves in the characters.
The beauty with Marvel is that they continue to impress. They continue to go higher and higher and exceed your expectations, and eventually you kind of are just so thankful that this studio is taking you with them. You know, you feel just proud to be a part of the family.
Yeah. No one's career has been stifled by working with Marvel. Yeah. So when they call you, you answer.
To begin today with a story of incredible heroism. A rescue in the North Atlantic over 50 years ago that is still, to this day, one of the most daring rescues in the history of the seas. In theaters on January 29, 2016, this is the story of The Finest Hours. The film is directed by Craig Gillespie, who did Lars and the Real Girl and $1 Million Arm, and it has an amazing cast. Chris Pine, Casey Affleck, Holliday Granger, Eric Bana, and Ben Foster.
This is not a world of explosions and fast, crazy cars and incredible technology. This was a wooden boat in 70-foot seas with zero navigation, a boat that was only capable of holding 12 people at most, that inevitably in zero blackout weather was able to hold 32 men and take them back to shore, and it's an incredible story.
And it's a true story set in 1952, and 4 Coast Guardsmen go out in the middle of a huge storm with near zero visibility and no navigational tools, and end up saving 32 lives off the ship that had broken in half. So it's a true story set in a great generation of really humble, heroic men.
I was born in '66. This movie came out in '67. I grew up with these characters. And what was nice for me is that Alan, he grew up with the books. So we both had different perspectives on something that we both cared deeply about. And as we all sat and talked about it and developed it, finding the balance between the iconic, mythic power of the Kipling and all of the images that I loved growing up with from the animated feature, it was how do you combine those things? And most importantly, how do you use today's technology to take it to a different place than the film that already exists? How do you build upon that legacy?
When you make a movie like Jungle Book is, it's a Disney property, but it belongs to the audience now. It's been out there in the world. It pre-existed through the Rudyard Kipling stories. It pre-existed the animated film. But everybody has a point of view about how it should be done and what their expectations are. And you have to work around a lot of different sets of priorities, and ultimately, as a fan, present something that you yourself would want to see. And so when you're using yourself as a compass, and you're operating, for the most part, in a vacuum on an effects-heavy film like this, and to show even a small piece of it to this crowd, and to get that instant feedback, it lets you know that you're on the right path, and you redouble your efforts, and you go back in there, and you just, Monday morning, you work twice as hard.
After working with John on Ant-Man 3, John kindly invited me to join his wonderful Jungle Book venture and offered me such a glorious part of the boy's protector, guide, and a kind of additional loving parent. The boy has, although he's an orphan, he has several parents, and loving parents too. I think that what John has done would astonish and delight Rudyard Kipling, because when you read the original book, all you can picture is animals who talk. When you watch the screen, that's what you see. You do not see CGI. You do not see computer-generated images. You do not see animation. You see animals that talk and have an amazing emotional spectrum.
Obviously, Disney has meant a lot to a lot of people over the years. And to be a part of Disney, and first of all, to have 3 films with Disney is really lovely. And to just be a part of those stories, those iconic stories that children are watching and are going to grow up referencing is just an honor.
The wonderful screenwriter Linda Wolverton, who wrote the 2010 Alice, as well as The Lion King, the original Beauty and the Beast, and more recently Maleficent, came up with an unusual, she's wonderful, Linda, such a wonderful writer and creator. She came up with an unusual, very Underlandian adventure that brings back all of the characters that we love and also introduces some wonderful new characters and ideas in Alice Through the Looking Glass. Mia Wasikowska returns as Alice alongside Johnny Depp, new Disney legend, as the Mad Hatter, Helena Bonham Carter as the Red Queen, and Anne Hathaway as the White Queen. And this time, we meet the character of Time himself, played by none other than Sacha Baron Cohen.
It's been 6 years since we shot the first one, so it was nice to kind of reprise it and be reunited with the cast from the first one. It's exciting for me as well because we shot most of it on green screen, so I don't always know what or where I am, and so it seems really new and exciting. So most of the characters from the first film are back: the Mad Hatter, the Red Queen, the White Queen. So, most of the original cast, Johnny and Annie and Helena, and then there's also Sacha Baron Cohen plays the new character Time, and he wasn't in the original, so it's exciting.
I never anticipated that this movie I'm about to talk about would be a movie we would be able to make again. And that movie is Pete's Dragon. The original film, which mixed live action and animation, came out in 1977. Some of you may have a vague memory of it. Some of you, I can tell, know every frame. And I think we all probably know the song. We have a phenomenal cast led by Bryce Dallas Howard, Wes Bentley, and Carl Urban, alongside an incredible young actor, Oakes Fegley, as Pete. And we are very honored to have the esteemed Robert Redford also on board.
I was obsessed with Pete's Dragon as a kid, and so I felt actually I was excited about the notion that there was going to be that I was going to get to refeel this story again, because when I watched that movie as a child, it does something to your core. I mean, it makes you feel like you want a best friend who's a dragon.
Queen of Katwe is the story of 12-year-old Fiona, her family, and that missionary Robert Katende, as she journeys to become and play the game's greatest grandmasters. Movies like this aren't the easiest to get made in Hollywood today. We shot this film on location where it happened, primarily in Uganda, on the very streets where the story occurred. And we could not have been more fortunate to have had the talent, commitment, and partnership, not only of our wonderful director, Mira Nair, but of also 2 incredible actors, David Oyelowo as Robert Katende, and Lupita Nyong'o as Harriet Mutesi, Fiona's mother.
I met Fiona Mutesi and her mother, and they are just incredible people. I mean, this is a story about the commitment to a dream, even in the most discouraging of situations.
This next one, I think, is very near and dear to many of the folks in this room. And that is the tale as old as time. Beauty and the Beast, you know it. This is a big, magical musical, And yes, it is a musical that features under the leadership of the very talented director Bill Condon, who did Dreamgirls, one of the very best casts we have ever assembled. Emma Watson is absolutely stunning as Belle. I hope you caught a glimpse of the yellow dress and the sizzle at the top of the show. Dan Stevens stars as the Beast. Luke Evans is Gaston. Emma Thompson is Mrs. Potts. Kevin Kline plays Belle's father, Maurice. Ian McKellen, Josh Gad, Stanley Tucci, Ewan McGregor, Audra McDonald, Gugu Mbatha Raw. It is like a fairy tale. The last film I'm going to talk to you about today is from one of the biggest series of films at the studio. And these are some of my all-time favorites, and in my opinion, they are unlike any other franchise out there in terms of adventure, comedy, drama, and their ability to transport viewers to another world. They are singular in tone and scope and spectacle. Arriving in July of 2017, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. It is an incredible return to the world of Captain Jack Sparrow with the one and only Johnny Depp back in one of the most iconic film roles of the 21st century. This time, we see the resilient, resourceful, seemingly indestructible, but as usual, down on his luck Jack come face to face with a terrifying new adversary in Captain Salazar. This unearthly foe is played by the incomparable Javier Bardem. We will also, of course, see Jack square off against his old frenemy, Captain Barbossa, with the return of the great Geoffrey Rush. And we have some very exciting new additions to the cast, including a young man named Henry, played by Brenton Thwaites, and a brilliant young scientist, Karina, played by Kaya Scodelario, who are seeking a treasure that has the power to unlock an eternal curse. And there's another character in this tale and in this franchise that we think the audience particularly loves seeing Jack interact with. A character we haven't seen in a little while. We've asked him to come back, and for D23, I want to officially announce that Will Turner, played by Orlando Bloom, will return.
I want to talk about some of our new cast. It's pretty incredible. We've got John Boyega, we've got Oscar Isaac, we have Daisy Ridley, and apparently someone who is legally required to be in every Disney movie, Lupita Nyong'o. You guys want to see him? Our cast, John, Oscar, Daisy, and Lupita, ladies and gentlemen.
I know the fans of Star Wars, you know the name Drew Struzan, and he's an amazing artist, and he designed all the posters for the Star Wars movies. And apparently he's designed an exclusive D23 poster. And
I'm delighted to be here now with JJ and this wonderful cast, and with Disney, who has supported this effort in a really extraordinary way, and will continue to do so, I'm quite sure. So it's a great thrill to be here with you, who made this whole thing happen, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you so much.
Well, I think that in a way, this movie is sort of a bridge, because it's taking things that you know, and it's hopefully showing them in a way you don't expect, but it's all about telling a new story. This is the key to this movie, is telling you something that you haven't seen before and don't know. And the beauty of the story is that the history of these characters is the history we know from the preceding film. So it was, Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote the script with me, we really focused on how do we tell a story and incorporate what people know in a way that won't feel like we're just doing callbacks for the sake of it, that it's not about a best of moment, but it's really about telling us a solid story. And we were very lucky to have the whole cast do such an extraordinary job.
We've had to be so secretive about the whole thing, and so as the date approaches, it's really fun to know that soon the rest of the world's going to get to enjoy the fun that we've been having for such a long time.